Sure. I always learn so much. All right, ladies, are you ready to go? Kick it off. How to be more efficient.
We are ready.
All
Yeah,
right.
whenever you're ready, Amy. We'll
No,
start with cameras on and then we'll turn them off just for to make sure we don't lose it.
sure. Yep. And I'll let you take it away. I won't share my video or audio, and then I will launch the polls when you signal me to do so. So take it away.
Perfect. Good to go? All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. We're so excited to be part of the summer workshop that Amy is hosting here. We are, and you can go to the next slide, Sandy, and Cheryl from Implementation Specialists. We are excited to present to you all about our wsTools, but also some GP processes to make sure everything's at your fingertips and talk integrations as well. So thank you for having us, Amy. We greatly appreciate that. And we will also be doing some poll questions along the way. So make sure that you watch for those and answer those when you get a chance. So we'd appreciate that feedback as well. So let's dive into the agenda. These are our topics for today. First, just some tips and tricks. And I know Amy just talked about automation, right? All of us should automate as much as we can. And so we're going to talk about making sure that data is at your fingertips, making sure that you can process the things as fast as you can, I guess I'll say. Because every minute or two that you save will certainly save you in the long end, right? So very exciting for that. As well as we want to talk about some of our wsTools. We have over 75 wsTools that sit on top of Dynamics GP and also on top of an ISV called Widsoft. And again, they're small little things, but they make life so much easier, like the ability to avoid invoices, do all those type of things, right? Just makes everything run so much better for you. And that's our goal for all of you, is to make you as efficient as you possibly can be. And then the last thing we're going to talk about today is just talk about integrations. And of course, there are other presenters behind us who are talking about integrations into GP, as well as we'll talk about some others that, again, anything that you can do to not have to rekey data is a great thing. I always cringe when somebody says, I have this other program, I enter all this in, and then I bring it over. And then they rekey it in versus, into an entry window versus just having some type of integration in there. And so those are some of the pieces we're going to hit on today. And again, greatly appreciate you coming. I am going to turn off my camera. I don't know if Sandy's going to keep hers on, but
I'm going to turn mine off too. That's enough of me.
just want to make sure I'm in the office today. So I want to make sure we're good with bandwidth and everything. So let's go ahead and jump into our first slide, but hold there for just a second. So if Amy, if you could do our first poll question there. And the first one is, have you customized your lookup windows? Because we're going to talk about that in this whole tips and tricks area. So if you could go ahead and just choose one that you have customized, or if you haven't done any. I should have had a none there. Sorry, Amy, I probably should have. But yeah, if you're customizing your lookup windows, that's our first one. And Amy, you can tell us if they've had a chance to mark them.
Sure. Yep. They're doing it right now. I usually let it run for about a minute to
Okay,
make sure everybody can answer. But it looks like customers and vendors are your top two.
excellent, excellent. And we're going to talk about that after we talk about customizing your home and area pages. So if you is the poll. There you go. All
Yep.
right. So everybody can see this slide again. So
Yes.
first topic, customizing your homepage and area page. And again, this to me is all about having that data at your fingertips. So when you log in for the morning, you're good to go and you can see your task list and know what you have to do today. If there's, standard reports that you're running, under my reports, getting that data again right in the forefront of your homepage when you log in, as well as your area pages for your different modules, making sure that if there's areas like you never go into setup, right? Maybe you're not authorized to go into setup. Well, why even have it display on your page, right? Getting those type of things removed. So let's we are going to walk through some slides, then we're going to take a look at a demo because of course Sandy and I like to play in product as well. We are product people. So we'll talk through some of those first things. Couple other things just to highlight here, customized for each GP user. So everybody can have their homepage looking different, have their area pages looking different. And again, other things you can put on there, you can have, like to-dos we talked about, but if you have project time and expense, like it'll tell you if you need to approve timesheets, expenses, some KPIs if you're doing anything with Business Analyzer, purchase orders, requisitions for your procurement pieces. I mean, all of these are options for you. Keep in mind, if you mark them all, you might have a very busy homepage, but that's your choice. Most customers I see for sure mark the to-dos and quick links, so they can easily get to their options that they want to use quickly, and then my reports. And again, you get to pick and choose which ones you want. And from there, on the second part of the screen of customizing your homepage is really kind of that layout. Do you want everything stacked on top of each other, 2 columns, 3 columns? And again, we'll take a look at that as we go into the product here in a couple minutes. But definitely customizable per user, and keep that in mind. The left side is your area page. So again, as we say, like for the financials, general ledger information, right? Do you want to see all of those options? Or again, do you never do anything with utilities? Then don't even have it show up on your area page for, your different series. So just want to talk about those, as well as we'll show some of that in a couple minutes. Go to the next slide. Let's talk about some of those advanced lookups that we did our poll on, because it does sound like some people are customizing. And it breaks my heart, I'll be honest, when working with a customer and we go in and their lookup windows are the old standard lookup windows, not taking advantage of what the product has available as far as customizing your lookup windows to be how you would want them and the data that you want at your fingertips, again, when you do those lookup windows. Probably the first thing is like the whole excluding inactive, whether it's customers, vendors, different options on the item piece. If you really aren't doing much with your inactive, let's go ahead and mark that. The one piece that might catch you off guard, though, is if all of a sudden you need that inactive and you're like, hey, it's not in my lookup window, right? So you kind of have to remember that, but you can always toggle it on and off. So if you are working with your inactive vendors, right, as you're doing some cleanup, again, you just pop into here, choose to unmark it so that you are, or mark it, depending on if it's include or exclude, to bring that data into your lookup windows and be able to see that, as well as custom sorting those, using your smart list favorites as your lookup windows, again, gets the data that you want and the data that you want to see into your columns, and have it sorted the way that you want it. So a really cool option. And so we want to take a look at some of those.
Yes, we do. It's my turn.
Yes, Andy's jumping in and she's going into GP.
Okay, so let's take a look first. I'm going to hop over to purchasing, and we're going to first talk about area pages. So some of you said you're doing this already, maybe, but let's come here under customize this page. And this customize this page is available on all of the various modules. So right now I've got them all marked, but let's say I don't ever go into, let's say, routines and utilities. I can unmark those and then I don't see them here. So it just cleans it up a little if there's things that I never go to and I just don't want my screen cluttered.
Yep, and then you could make transactions bigger if you wanted to, right? And take
yeah,
up
but
space,
first I was just going to say, the utilities and the routines are still available here. I can still get to them, from the menu here. So if I want, I can still get there under purchasing to anything I need. I just don't have it displayed here. And then, like Cheryl said, I'm going to just mark those again, just so I've got more showing up here. But, you probably all know this, but we can expand this and make transactions bigger, because that's, it's a big menu. And if it's just the normal, you don't see it all and you've got to scroll here. So it's easy to just click this and see the entire transactions menu. And then notice these all popped over to the right. And that's based on the homepage settings. And let's take a look there, because if I go to home page and customize this page, and this is one of the screenshots that was on the slide. So first, I'm gonna, well, let's talk about this one down here first, the column stack. So all those other manuals were over to the right side because we've got right marked here. If I switch this to left and say okay, and then I hop back there to purchasing, now they're all over here on the left rather than on the right. And if we go back in there, you've also got the options to put them at the top or the bottom of the screen. So wherever you like to see that, you can do that. And then of course, when we go back here, if we want them just the normal size again, we can just click here and then they're back to how they were. But a few more things on the home customize this page. Where did that go? I'm sitting behind here. There we go. So right now, you know, I've got these ones marked. Let's put a few more on there so it gets a little busier. And then I'm going to switch that to 3 columns and say, okay. Then I've got 3 columns of data here. Well, I guess there's, so I could drag this up, I think. There we go. Now we've got 3 columns. So however you like to see it. And then of course, if you need to change your role, you can do that here.
Just be careful with that, because if you click on that, go ahead, just click, Sandy.
Yeah.
If you go in there, it's going to say, you know, the customizations you made could be lost, right? Because of changing to a different role that wouldn't have that data. So just be careful with that. Get that one set appropriately before you start to do your modifications.
Yeah, I'm not going to switch my role. Okay, I'm going to just cancel there.
Yeah.
And let's see. We'll just put that back how I had it. 2 columns, and we'll just unmark a few of these so it's not quite so busy. And then I'll hit OK. That looks a little...
that marking them all gets it kind of busy. I totally agree. Yeah.
Okay, so that was kind of customizing the home page and the area pages. And Cheryl also talked about advanced lookups. So let's take a look there. So I'm going to go now to administration and come under setup and company. And here is where we have the advanced lookups. So let's make one for something easy here. We've got a lot of options and you can do it with all of them, but let's do one for vendors. And then we can pick some custom sorts. So maybe I'll do like the state the vendor's in. Some of them I have user defined one set. So I'm going to pick that because I think I like to sort that way sometimes. And maybe instead of vendor ID, I want to be able to sort by vendor name. Okay. I could add a 4th one if I want, but I'll just leave it like that and save it. So now if I go over to purchasing and click on vendor, and then we'll use the lookup here. And right now it's just still normal. I can come in here though, and I can pick additional sorts. And I guess I had that set up and I removed it. So it is already doing that, but let's switch it to be by state. Some of these don't have a state. So there we go. We've got, you know, Alberta going on down here. So they're all sorted by states. So if I like that one, I can come back in here and I can set that as my default view to be by state. So then if I like close the lookup and reopen it, now I'm sorted by state. So you have that option if that's something you want to keep. You know, if that's how you like to do it, that makes it easy because it's saved that way. Also, my custom sorts or my advanced lookups that I set up are available over here on this menu as well. I can come here and do by vendor name. If, you know, if I want to do it this way and just not save it, just kind of on the fly, I can do that. So you can do that for any of those that are available in the advanced lookup, you know, like customers, all kinds of things available there. So very handy to get things in the way you want. And again, these are per user. They're not, if you set this, it's not going to change it for anybody else. Okay, let's hop back into the slides.
Well, and really, we could spend, our whole hour, to be honest, talking about the home page, the area pages, the advanced lookups, even doing the smart lists and making them part, there's just so many things that we could cover there. But I know Amy only gave us so much time, so we got to stick to it.
Just show a fraction of it.
Keep moving. So, but yeah, if you have questions on any of that, put that in the chat, as well as if you want to go deeper, we can certainly schedule, a time after this to, walk through and talk more about how you would like it to work for each one of you individually. So definitely an option there as well. So before we dive into the next topic, let's bring up the poll. Next poll question, Amy. Have you heard of wsTools by implementation specialist? So while you guys are answering that question, yes or no, I'll go ahead and get started just talking about what are wsTools. Back at, several years ago at implementation specialist, we were implementing customers and getting some of the same requests from customers one after another, where they're like, hey, I wish the product did X. And it's like, okay, we're hearing the same thing over and over, so we should just make those products, right? Because we were making customs or one-offs for customers, which was great, but it's like, okay, we're hearing the same thing over and over. Let's make it as a product so lots of people can have this. And so that's really where wsTools came from, was let's create products that we can have available for all Dynamics GP customers that they can pick and choose from. So all of the products that we're going to talk about today is going to be a la carte. Like, you don't have to buy everything we talk about, but if there's, one or two things that you're like, that would really help us from a process perspective, then you can purchase those. So again, if you have questions on any of that as we kind of walk through that, or even afterwards, certainly reach out to us and we'll provide that data as we continue through the presentation. So let's go into the first products we're going to talk about. And we're going to hit on some that are in the core area, some in distributions, and then payroll. If you use payroll inside of GP, we have lots of payroll options as well for wsTools. So again, we're only highlighting a few, and of course we're going to demo because we want to be in the product and talk about these. So from a process perspective, when you think about, you're on the payable side, you've entered your invoice, you've done a payment and you've applied it, and of course then it's off to history, and you realize that what you paid wasn't really for that invoice. It should have been a different invoice, or they're going to give you a credit and you want to unapply the two documents, bring them back and apply the credit, whatever it might be. We have the PM unapply product. And you might think, I have RM unapply. That's part of Dynamics GP, right? With Pistol, you can go through that option and do the RM unapply, but there is not a PM unapply as part of the product series. So that was one that we built many years ago, and we have lots of customers taking advantage of this. And again, we're going to do some demos, but it does allow you the capability to unapply documents that you've previously applied and sent to history, bring them back into open and do what you need to. Again, like we said, apply a credit memo and apply that payment to a different invoice. It allows you to do that all within a couple little steps. So very cool little product. Happy to have that one as part of our arsenal. Next one gives us the capability to change our vendor on whether it's a PM transaction, payables transaction that you have not posted yet, or if you've created a purchase order and you've, let's say, especially during the COVID time, had sent it off to a vendor and they're like, I'm sorry, I can't get to this or send you your products that you've ordered for over a year. And you're like, okay, I'm going to send my purchase order to a different vendor. This tool definitely came in handy during that time frame, where you can say, okay, it was ABC and now I'm going to change it to XYZ, all within, you just pull up the purchase order, switch it to the other vendor, And then it does all of the updates for you appropriately as far as like switching the vendor, your distributions, those type of things. It does your updates as it should based on switching vendors. And again, you don't have to rekey the purchase order. You don't have to do anything like that or copy the purchase order. Allows you to change your existing document. So very cool. And again, that's on both the payables, transactions, and purchase orders. And you can only do it on purchase orders you have not done receiving or invoicing against. So just want to be crystal clear about that as well. Next one up, well, actually, we're going to take a break and let's do product, right, Sandy?
Yeah, yep.
Let's see one of these.
Okay, so let's look first at PM unapply. So I'm going to come into the window for it and pick a vendor. And let's do, oh, and now it's doing my custom sort. Let's see.
Sorting off a little.
Yeah, okay, so I'll just hit redisplay here. So I've got this one I just did, payment 20058. And so all I have to do is click unapply, and notice it's in history right now, it's historical. So I'm going to unapply it. And then if I come here and we do, that was ABC. And so now that 20058 is open. So that's how simple it is to use. So now I can go, you know, and apply that payment where it should be applied. Super easy to use and, you know, big time saver. The next one is the PO and PM unapply. So one tool, but it works in both repeat a bit of PO entry and also.
This is the vendor changer, not unapply, but vendor changer,
yeah,
right? You're going to show?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So we can do it on PO entry and also payables transactions. So we'll just look at it here. And like Cheryl said, any purchase order, as long as you haven't received or invoiced against it. So here's one. And this is, you know, not a big deal because this one only has one line item. So it wouldn't take us that long if we did need to re-enter it with a different vendor. But, you know, let's say we've got 10 or 12 items on it instead, and that would take us a long time. So you can just come up here and pick additional, change vendor ID. And then you just have to pick what vendor you want to switch it to. So I'm going to switch it, how about to ABC, and then just click the commit button. And you see it's already switched here. That's how simple it is. It works the same way in payables transaction entry. You know, and there you don't have lines, but if you've done distributions that you don't want to change, it's just a time saver again. So works the same way there under additional and change vendor ID. Okay, Cheryl, I'll hop back into slides and give it back to you.
Yeah, because I'm going to talk about one of my favorites. Still on the payables side, we're going to, or I should say on the purchasing side, mass PO close. So this gives you the ability to come into the window and put in your filters at the top, you know, whether it's purchase orders, vendors, and just say, hey, what do I have outstanding? What purchase orders can I choose to complete / close at this point in time? This one also includes, if you do use the Winsock product, you can also include jobs and service calls, and it'll show that data as well on the screen, as well as you can choose specific jobs or specific service calls to focus in on. And this window is really broken out into two areas. The available to close section, so it's saying these POs from a quantity ordered, quantity received, invoice, etc., meet the criteria and they can be closed if you choose to. And you can mark one by one. You can see on the right-hand side of the screen that you can pick and choose which ones to close there. But what I think is even cooler is the bottom portion of the screen under the unable to close, where it specifically shows you the PO, the line, the item number information, and then why you can't close that one. So like the first one you'll see quantity received minus quantity returned, right, does not equal quantity invoiced, right? I mean, it gives you that specific data, and you can see the numbers there too of quantity ordered was 300. I've done a receiving of 100, but I haven't invoiced anything, right? So it's not ready to be closed at this point because you should be receiving an invoice. But if it's, you put in like a PO date range of these are POs I created over a year ago, right? And they're still outstanding, might be that you need to do some follow-up. And what's cool is you can highlight that line, and then as you can see, PO number is a drill down. So you could drill down into that purchase order, pull it up, and give that vendor a call or do some research on your own of like, did we really invoice it and not put it against the purchase order, right? You might have to do some follow-up and figure out what's going on with that purchase order. So again, love this product. It's one of our newer products, but fun to see customers up and going and running on that and being able to do some data cleanup, I guess I'll say. Right, Sandy? Data cleanup.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk, that is purchasing. Let's talk inventory. And this is one where you're like, okay, this is a little different. It's called inventory round, and it's really working on the background. You don't really see a whole lot from the user interface, but what it allows you to do is, let's say you ordered a quantity of 3 for a total of $100, right? So they say, yep, we're going to ship you 3 for $100. But when you want to receive them in at each quantity of each, the unit cost doesn't break out equally. And in this case, it's not so bad, right? You got 2 at 33.33 and then 1 at 33.34. So only 1 cent difference, not a big thing. But if you had costly things and you were doing these calculations, right, it could be 1,000 plus for each one of these that it could be a difference of. Well, what inventory round does is it say, okay, once you've done that receiving, we want to really receive these all in at 33.33, so they have the consistent unit cost for all 3 of those. And then we take the difference and post that to general ledger to an account you specify as part of the setup, whether that's cost of goods or an offset account, those type of things. And in this case, we'd only be sending a penny over. But again, if these were our large value items that this is happening on, you definitely want to be able to see that and update your general ledger appropriately as well. So again, happens under the covers. You won't even really notice that it's happening, but it can be a very powerful tool if you're in that industry that would need something like that. Next one, we're going to switch over to the SOP side and talk about SOP auto charge. So this gives you the capability to set up some rules that say for this customer or customer class, you can see on the screen lots of different ways that you can slice and dice your rules. But you say for this item, for this customer, I want to give them a percentage discount or even an additional charge. You can do that as well. And so it allows you to add things onto invoices automatically. So you'll go into SOP and you'll record your line items like normal. But then let's say you want an additional charge to go on there for using credit cards or what it might be. You can have that additional charge automatically applied to that invoice. It puts it on as a non-inventory item. And so again, not affecting your inventory, but that additional cost and billing will go on there and away you go. You're good to go for that discount again, or fixed amount that you're adding on to it. So kind of cool, kind of a fun little tool. So let's
Can I add one thing there?
Yeah, jump in, Sandy.
One thing I really like is we have this inactive checkbox. So let's say, we want to do right now maybe a fall promotion, like get your furnace cleaned or something, and we could have a discount on that and run it for a few months. And then it would apply anytime you do an invoice for it. But then if we want to take it away, then once that promo's done, we can just come and mark the inactive checkbox, and then it wouldn't get used, but we'd still have that rule there. And next year we could remove the inactive checkbox and it's ready to go again.
Excellent. Well, let's take a look. Back to the product.
Okay.
And so, as you've noticed, these products are really inside of GP as well. Like they don't sit outside of GP. The ones that we're showing, some of these that we're showing today. So again, from awareness, you're actually, for this one, she's going to actually just go to a menu system and choose to go to the math close.
Yeah, so I'm going to show you the
You're doing the PO, mass PO
yeah,
close?
yes, I am. I'm getting ahead of myself. Thank you.
Well, I saw you going for receivables, so
Yeah,
hold on.
you got to keep an eye on me all the time.
We're gonna get there.
Yeah, one I'm excited about. I know mass PO close is one of your favorites. So
Yeah.
let's take a look here. So we've got a bunch of filters up here at the top. We can use any or all of these. So I could pick a range of POs, a range of vendors or dates. I could pick the buyer. I don't know how much I have here for that. And, redisplay that way. And I see everything in the upper and lower grid for that buyer. I'm going to just hit clear. We can also do it by the status of the PO. Like if I don't want to see the new ones, I could do that. And so I see everything except the new ones. And then let's filter that down a little bit more. So maybe I want just like that. Let's see how much we've got there. Okay, so again, as Cheryl mentioned, we've got the two grids. The ones up here are the ones we are able to close. And down here are the ones we can't, and we can see why. So we could, dig in and clean those up. We can, well, I don't know why that's not opening for me, but you can
go ahead and click on one of the lines.
Oh, that's yeah, you're right. I hadn't clicked on it. So we can, see some more detail on any of those, if we did have a linked document here on this side, we can drill on that. And then, up here in the ones we want to close, once we've got the ones we want in there to close, we can mark them individually, or I can do that and then click process, and it's going to close everything that we've marked up here. So it'll close all the PO lines, and if the PO lines are closed, then the PO is closed. Because in GP out of the box, we can come in here and do one at a time in the edit POs window. But if you've gotten behind on it and, maybe have hundreds or thousands, that's going to take forever. So this one makes it really easy to do a ton of them all at once. Anything you want to add there, Cheryl? Because I know this is one of your faves.
Yeah, well, and just bringing that data really to your fingertips, which is really, I think, what a lot of our tools are about, right? Is just being able to do that data at your fingertips and be able to process them as quickly as you can, most efficient way there is. So,
yeah. Okay, back to slides.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a couple on the sales side as Sandy was starting to actually almost demo them. Well, that's all right.
There we go.
So we have a couple there we're going to talk about. Quick Collect is our first one. And I know no one likes to make that phone call that, hey, customer, you haven't paid us for your last couple invoices, right? And again, it may be that they just forgot to do it, or you didn't get included when they did their check building, whatever it may be. And so Quick Collect gives you the capability to send that little reminder message of, dear customer, we've sent you these invoices. You have an outstanding balance. Here's the information. And again, you can pick and choose how often you want these emails sent out. You can build a schedule, frequency. Certainly don't recommend that you send them every day to your customers. Still have these outstanding, but you can pick and choose, do you do them every couple of weeks, twice a month? And again, it's using all the email addresses from your standard GP locations. You don't have to do any additional setup to get these emails set out to the customers. And anything to add there, Sandy? Because I know you love this one too.
I do love it. I think it's so slick because, you set up things like you can update the verbiage in the email that goes out. And once you've got the setup done, it's hands off. You don't have to touch it again unless you want to change something with your setup. So makes it very easy.
And hopefully those payments just roll right in, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so speaking of payments, that's our next one on the receivable side is payment reapply. And so if you've recorded a payment, let's say to the wrong customer, or you are using more of a lockbox, not sure who the payment's from, but you just want to get it recorded, right? You might have a standard customer that you do that with and then move them. What you can do here is with our backout payment piece, payment reapply, is you can choose to back it out from one customer, apply it to another, and then actually, you know, apply it, and it'll create that information for you, create the batch information for you, and all in one window. You don't have to leave this window to do the void on the customer that you're taking it away from and customer you're moving it to. It's all within one window. So we are going to take a quick look at that, right, Sandy?
We are. That's the one I was trying to get to before. Whoops, and got ahead of myself. So I'm going to hop over to sales and do a cash receipt quick. And we'll pick customer 201 here. I'll enter an amount like that and come in here, and I'm just going to auto apply it. Okay, and we'll post it. So that's payment 00105 for customer 201. Okay.
Okay, am I supposed to remember that? Payment 105, customer 201. I got
okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so now I'm going to come in here and we'll find that one. So that was customer 201.
Payment 105, I remember.
There we go, payment 105, yeah. So I'm going to zoom on that document number. And now here is where we get to our payment reapply tool. I can pick additional and back out document. And this is the window that showed in that screenshot. So I can, let's say, you know, instead of 201, this is really supposed to go to customer 202. So I can unapply it up here, which takes it away from customer 201. And I'll just put in a batch here, like demo. And I'm going to click create. And then notice right here, that just got populated. So it keeps the same payment number that we had, and it just adds an A to the end of it. All right. So that is already created. So if we go out of here and I redisplay, now this is voided here. We can see the asterisk there. And if we look at 202, there it is, payment 105 with an A at the end. So then we would just have to come back in here to our cash receipt and find that one. There it is. And then I can apply it to on this one. So it moved it over to this customer for us, but we just got to pick where we want to apply it. I'll just auto apply it again.
Yep, and post the new transaction because
yep, and post the new transaction. Oh, I got to get rid of my batch there. Okay, isn't that slick? I think this is a really cool tool.
Yes.
And I'll just cancel there. Okay.
And we have more to talk about though.
We do. We're not done yet. We're on a roll.
The next section we're going to talk about is payroll. And I'll be honest, we have lots of payroll customers and lots of payroll tools. And so this, but this is one of our favorites, right, Sandy? Both of our favorites on the payroll side. So if you are in an organization that needs to process pay increases or bonuses or whatever it might be fairly quickly in between your different pay runs, this is a great tool to have. It gives you the ability to export out the payroll information into spreadsheets. And so like if you wanted to, you know, export out all of the bonus pay codes and have it filled in Excel and you import it back into your system for the next pay run, right? You can easily do that. Or it could be that your organization does raises all at one time a year. And again, you could have, you know, hourly or salary pay codes exported out, make changes. And when you import them in, you could say, roll them down to all of the pay codes that are associated with that hourly pay code or salary pay code. So their PTO, their sick time, vacation time, time and a half, all of that. It would update all of those automatically for you. You wouldn't have had to have them in the spreadsheet. It'll do the calculations for you. So huge time saver for people because we have people that need to change hundreds of employees and they run payroll weekly. And so again, if you're in a similar boat, definitely we can talk about how this can help make your job so much easier. And we all know that sometimes payrolls don't go the way they're supposed to, even though, you run them, on your standard schedule. So we have a tool called Payroll Reset. And you from Microsoft, they have the whole list. Like, okay, if things didn't go well and you get an error, right? This is the steps you have to go through on how you need to clean them up. And some of those steps include going to SQL. And I know that, Amber talked about this earlier too in her presentation, right? Being able to delete things, and sometimes it's like not all users have the capability and knowledge to do that. And so what we created is a tool called Payroll Reset, where it'll actually, you just mark, yep, I want to clear this, reset, and it'll do all this work for you in the background, and you can stay inside of your GP product and not have to leave it in order to walk through these steps. So very, very cool. And again, just brings this ability to your fingertips and be able to do it in seconds and continue on, bring back your batches, and away you go again. So definitely a time saver, especially for those users who don't have access to the back end of their system. So I think we should look at that import, Sandy. Can we jump over there and show that?
Look. Okay, I'm going to hop into HR and payroll, and it is right here. For the sake of time, I'm going to skip the export portion. There was a screenshot of that on the slide, so I'm going to just show you the import. So I can come in here, I'll pick the file. This is what I already exported, and I adjusted the new pay information. I'm going to click import from Excel. Oops. So this
tabs.
I did that on purpose. I picked one with multiple tabs. So if there's only one, it's marked by default. This one, I had 4 different sheets or tabs on my spreadsheet, so I can pick which ones I want, if I want to do them all or just a few of them. So maybe I'll do this, and I'll skip the install, and I'll do it like that and click import from Excel. And it brings them all in for me and tells me it's complete. And then I've got all of that information. And what's nice here is I can sort on any of these columns that I want. And I can see their current rate and the new rate I set for them in the spreadsheet. And look at here, I've got a warning message. Oh, it's 0. Well, most of this information I can't change, but this one I can come in here and, maybe I missed that. And I'm going to give Pilar a $1,200 bonus. So then I can just click reevaluate, and then that message goes away. I could leave it there if I wanted. It's just a warning. It's not going to stop me. But there is that. And once it's ready, and if we wanted to remove any lines, we can do that. But first, before a couple other things here, Cheryl talked about the rolling down changes. So if you'll notice, I only brought in, like the main things like hourly and salary and a bonus. So I didn't bring in overtime, double time, sick time, vacation, because I'm going to roll those down. And then we could put in the effective date, the change reason, I'll just say something like that. And then before we do this, let's make sure that, I'm not doing any sleight of hand here, that they really are the old rate first. So let's look at a few of these, like Aaron. So hourly rate is 25, and let's get back here. So they're 25, and it's going to go to 26.25 an hour. And let's just look at one more. Pilar, she's at 22.5. We won't look at them all, but see 26.25, and because we rolled it down, that pay rate for double time is based on this new rate, and there's his hourly rate. So same with Pilar, there's that $1,200 bonus. her holiday got rolled down from salary. So makes it really easy if you're doing those adjustments all the time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Much faster versus having to pull up each pay record, right, and go make all those changes.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
Manually. I feel sorry for anybody who has to do it all manually if you have lots and lots of them. So
yeah.
Cool. Well,
Okay.
like we said, we have lots of payroll tools, and just showing that slide real quick and those are specific to payroll. And if you use payroll, there, I am sure we have at least one or two tools that you can certainly use in that payroll piece. I'll just highlight one because as we're headed here into year end before we know it, the 941 tool helps you verify that your summary and detail match and helps you reconcile that out as well. So handy dandy tool to have as you kind of get closer to doing your reporting. The next slide talks about just general wsTools for GP. And again, we did not talk about all of them. We would not have time to do that. We've hit on, a portion of them. But again, if there's any of these you want to know more about, you can check out our website. And we'll have that information here at the end. And we have little videos about them. And just like how Sandy was doing a quick little demo and showing it, we have those recorded out on our site. So again, if anything kind of catches your attention that you're like, what's posting control? You need that, those type of things. You can jump out there, take a look at the written description as well as the video, and it'll walk you through that. And of course, we are ready and willing to answer any questions and do a demo, live demo with you as well. So we do have a promotion going on right now in the month of August that buy 5 tools, you get a free corporate pass to GPUC 24. And you might be like, okay, what does that mean? So buying 5 tools gets you our capability to attend our user conference, GP user conference that we hold in November at the Microsoft Fargo campus. And if you want to jump to the next slide, we'll talk about GPUC just a little bit about it. Again, it's been a Great Plains user conference for many years, and we started Business Central last year as well. So we do a BC day on Wednesday, but we do GP all week long, Monday through Friday. And we'd encourage for you to check that out as well. But again, if you buy 5 tools, you get a corporate pass, and corporate pass means that you could have everybody in your company attend if you wish. And this is on campus as well as remote. I want to make sure I do that. Or you could do hybrid, come to some days in Fargo and do some remote as well. But it gives you the capability of attending sessions all day long. We typically have 7 or 8 hours of sessions going on in 5 different rooms that we're doing that. And Microsoft speakers will be there, MVPs, IS team will be presenting as well. So lots of fun things. And we also have a sponsor track that sponsors are on site as well as virtual, and they present in the sponsor track too. So again, lots of things going on there. And if you want to know more about that, we have the website here on this particular slide, and we'll be sharing those as well as you'll see it out on our website too. All right, we're nearing the third last bullet that we're going to talk about. And so if you want to, Amy, put up the last poll question. Talking about integrations, that's where we're headed for the last section. Did I lose Amy?
No, did it launch? Oh, here it goes. Sorry.
There you go.
I pressed launch. It just took a few seconds.
Oh, no problem at all. And really looking at what kind of integrations are you running today. And I just put, a couple there. AP automation is a popular one, right? And we're going to see that a little in a couple hours here. Sales tax, and we already got Michelle on from Avalara. We're going to see that as the next webinar. Expense reports. I mean, it could be you do payroll outside your system and you just want to bring in, summary data. What type of integrations are you guys using today with your Dynamics GP system? That was kind of what we're looking for here. Try to get an understanding on that. I'll give you a moment to answer. And then again, I talked about not rekeying the data, right? That is the big thing that I hate to see as a partner is, we want to make sure that the data that you're consuming or bringing in from a different product and you want to bring it into GP, that it does get integrity, right? That it's not being rekeyed and you're losing what you had in the other system coming across. A good example is expense reports, making sure, like, let's say you use Concur, and I'm not recommending or not recommending anybody, but let's say you use Concur as your expense report and you want to bring in that data once it's approved over in Concur, bring that data into payables so that you can choose to either run that through your payroll or run it through AP, right? You're paying your credit card vendor, but you also need to make sure it's covered, whether you reimburse your employees, whatever it might be. But we have lots of integrations that we do that way, payroll integrations. We have customers who are uploading files to banks, and it could be, using the ACH, right? That's part of the product. But if you also we have customers who still want printed checks sent, but the checks are being printed by the bank and sent out that way. We, have customers who want to upload files, and again, building that integration so that they have options inside of the product that it automatically dumps the file out and does the promotion up to their website or whatever, FTP site that it needs to go to. Avid Exchange, if you're using something like that and bringing in PO information that you need to keep track of, you've done the receipts and everything over there, but you want to update, what's going on in GP. There's all types of systems that integrate to GP, but maybe they don't bring everything in. And again, we can help in that arena as well. Again, if there's anything that you're rekeying, this would be an area of having that conversation internally of, we need to look at maybe automating this piece, right? Because never too late to automate. I think that was Amy's comment at the beginning of this whole section, and totally agree. If there's things that you are doing manually, now is a good time to look at that of how could you change that. So if we want to go over to the next slide, open up Q&A. Is there any questions we have not answered at this point?
Please put them in the Q&A or the chat if you do have questions. I did, someone had saying, thank you for putting this on, just so you know, but she can't stay on the whole time and she was hoping to get the recording. So yes, we will be sending out the recording with all of the information so that way you can review it.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, and again, if you have questions later, certainly ping us and let us know, and we'll get the next slides up that have that information. Recap, again, we just hit on quick tips and tricks, and again, love to spend more time on that. Just like Amber, love showing the product, showing how to do things and getting that, quickly at your fingertips. Talked about some of our wsTools, and again, if questions or comments on that, we would certainly give you another demo, in-depth kind of talk about that. And then obviously reviewing the integrations and going back to your company and having that conversation of, are there things that we're doing manually today that we really need to look at automating? And having that conversation with your current partner, or if you're not working with someone, Amber and us would be certainly willing to have that conversation with you as well. And just to wrap it up, if you want to go to the last slide here and just say thank you for attending, we greatly appreciate it. iscorp.biz is our website. And if you want to send us an email too, it's just sales@iscorp.biz. And we'll get those fed into our system and get a response back to you right away. So thank you everyone for spending this time with us. We greatly appreciate it.